Hello, hello. Wonderful to be back with another fun exploration, deep dive into the world of the divine feminine. And I'm having fun having done this for 5.5 years now, really exploring goddesses that are that I am not as familiar with, and finding there's some really major ones that, just because I don't know who they are. I mean, I always talk about the goddess of 10,000 faces, and I'm having so much fun, and I hope this is also enjoyable for you too. I post here a couple times a month with these Inner Goddess Team videos, and then they go up on my YouTube channel, so check that out. Subscribe there, please. You can comment here or there or wherever. It's just youtube.com/or something, Deborah Roth. This one could be connected to the new moon, which we just moved past. This is new moons are always pretty powerful because they're about new beginnings. And this one in particular, because it's also the beginning of the new year. Oh, lovely. Hi, Debbie. Wonderful to see you. It's the beginning of the Lunar New Year, the Chinese Lunar New Year, the year of the fire horse. And I talked about that, and we did a really fun new moon circle yesterday, Monday, whatever yesterday was, the 17th. It was an Aquarius new moon. We're still in the deep darkness, depth of that time, as well as being a solar eclipse, which always makes even deeper whatever the theme is that we're working with. So a little bit of preamble there before we actually get to the goddess this time. So this one, she's a Hittite goddess, which is one of the civilizations in the Middle East from ages and ages ago. And her name is Hannahanna, sometimes Hannahannas with an S. And she was considered the queen of heaven. She was considered the mother of all the gods and of all people. She governed fertility, growth, and at the same time, celebration and happiness. And her amazing, there may be more than one myth, but the one that I'll focus on today is so symbolic and so metaphorical and beautiful, and frankly has a really wonderful connection to me personally, which I'll tell you about when we get there. So let's see, what do I want to tell you about her? Hannahanna, because of her connection to fertility, I think that's why when I was reading about her, she's connected to the new moon, because the new moon is a time when we are growing. When that's a great time to plant, because as the moon, gardeners may tell you this, or people who plant in sync with the moon, that when we're in a waxing moon period, it's literally a time for growth and bringing everything to fruition, which happens at the full moon. So she was some of her names, her name, Hannahanna, was actually used in several different cultures at that time. She was known as Anna, who was in the Christian tradition was considered to be the mother of Mary, of Mother Mary, which makes her the grandmother of Jesus. So there's the grandmother thing. She also known as Inanna, which I've done, I think maybe a couple times. I've talked about Inanna, who is the Sumerian goddess, also a very rich, wonderful mythology around her. Hannah, Queen Nana, I'm not sure where that was from. So she was celebrated in a festival, and this happened oftentimes with these very powerful goddesses, that they would marry a sacred king. This was a great honor for a man in the town, in the village, to do a spiritual marriage, and often, they mate, and then he's sacrificed, and then sent her into, and then he sent into her abyss, into her depths, to be the new king of the dead, which is quite an honor. So that's not even the myth I want to tell you about. So she is the favorite. This is kind of a favorite tale about her, and it tells how And again, I always ask this, if anybody knows the knows the pronunciation of some of these things. Oh, I don't want to forget to tell you what she looks like. Let me do that first. So these are statues. I mean, it's the same statue, just different visions of her, which I love it when I can find really early ones, not ones that have been prettified, which sometimes, I think the patriarchy loves to do with, making these young, full-breasted. She's a grandmother. And I did find some images that were more artistic, but this I felt was just a beautiful, if you can get up close and look for it yourself. I think it contains some of her mythology. She has a deep connection to bees. And those of you that know me or have circled with me know that I've got bee things all over my office, including a bee goddess, which I was going to bring over with me, but I forgot to. And you'll hear because Deborah, my name, means bee, and bees in ancient times were considered an emissary, were considered oracles of the goddess. So the bee story behind Hannahanna is that there was a fertility god whose name was Tilapinu, and he was angered because of the world's evil. So he stomped off with the sandals on the wrong feet, which would make anybody angry, and he disappeared. And kind of like the Demeter myth, when, the Greek goddess Demeter, when she disappeared, everything on earth, she was the goddess also of fertility and growth. And when he disappeared, it caused the earth to dry up and plant life to wither away. All the happiness and fruitfulness that surrounded the earth was deserted. Water ceased to flow, animals ceased to bear young, and even the milk of human mothers dried up. The gods and humans, everyone tried to figure out where he went, where he had stalked off to. And the only one that could do this was only Hannahanna, and she brought a tiny little bee. She requested a tiny little bee to set out to find Telapinu, and when the bee found him, she was instructed to sting his hands and his feet to wake him up, because Hannahanna was sure that he had just fallen asleep somewhere and didn't realize that he had destroyed the earth by disappearing. So the bee, this little bee, sets off to do this, and nearly exhausted, just about to give up, and indeed finds Telapinu in a village fast asleep. And it was such a tiny village that everyone else who'd been looking for him had missed him. So she did as she was instructed by Hannahanna, and of course Telapinu woke up to all the stings, and he flew in a new rage. Now he's angry all over again. Destroyed everything around him once again. And the bee returned and asked for an eagle to be sent to carry Telapinu back. While Hannahanna arranged, she arranged for a magical spell that would drive out Telapinu's angry spirit once and for all. And she called on these lovely goddesses that bared sesame and nectar. And then also she called on a magical goddess, a magician goddess called, see if I can get this one right, Kamru Sepas, and to cleanse the god Telapinu of his fury. So they soothed his mind with cream. And I love this little piece. And I always put the my resources in the YouTube channel, but sometimes I read directly from it, like this, I think is beautiful. Soothed Telapinu's mind with cream, sweetened his disposition with honey, cleansed his body with oil, probably sesame oil, and eased his soul with ointment, to put him in harmony with humans, with the gods, and with the world. And when his anger left him and all that was right with the earth, everything else returned. Fertility, happiness, celebration, growth. So we credit, the Hittites credited Hannahanna with bringing life back, bringing growth, fertility, happiness back to the earth. So as I always love to do with this, we carry these archetypes within us. And whether you have any ancestry that goes back to ancient Middle East. And these are really from like, I think 1800 to 2000 BCE, so very old representations. Whether you have that kind of ancestry or not, I believe that we can call on them respectfully, with great honor. Maybe an offering of honey for the bee connection, or an offering of sesame seeds, to call on Hannahanna when you need fertility, when maybe you are actually trying to get pregnant, or you want your garden to grow better, or if you just want to be able to celebrate. And she's also known for finding solutions to problems. She found a very creative one with this little bee. So that is the story of Hannahanna, and I invite you just to do your own kind of checking about around her, if this resonates with you, and particularly if you're in that space, in that place of wanting to welcome in growth, celebration, new life. Pretty apropos right now as we very gently, very sweetly move through these dark days of the month and move closer to, it's only about 5 weeks away, to the spring equinox. So enjoy, check out the YouTube channel, and whether you're watching this now, this time of year, or any other time, call on Hannahanna when you need that kind of support. And let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback and any other juicy tidbits you find about her as well. Blessed be. Thanks for watching.